Hey YouTube, good morning. It's Petey Two Finger here. I wanted to talk a little bit more about something I'm kind of always on about. That's internet guitar player syndrome. This is something you see. You'll see it in Facebook groups a lot. You see it in forums a little bit more, but really it's more of those like places where you can kind of be anonymous. You can kind of just come in and say your piece and leave and not worry about people remembering who you were or what you said. And a big part of internet guitar player syndrome is making proclamations about gear. Like, you can't do this unless you have that. Or any of this type of technology is only for some person who's a kid in his bedroom. Like, if you're a bedroom producer or you just play in your house, that you're not good. That, like, the person who is playing covers in a bar is better than, or on a higher level than someone who's creating something new. And at the end of the day, if I had to pick what I wanted to be, I would never put myself in the bar. If you bought a guitar so you could get laid, yeah, maybe that's your path. But I think the people that make interesting music do that simply because they love doing it. I think the musicians that have inspired us, that have created original works, they don't necessarily do that for any other reason other than they're trying to impress themselves. You know? So you got to watch out for internet guitar player syndrome. You got to make sure that it doesn't mess with your head, depending on what your goals are, what you're trying. I mean, that's the thing. If you're trying to play dress up and you want to look like a phony rock star and get covered in tattoos, grow out a big beard, and scowl at people like you're all hard, fine. Get a big pointy guitar, play your stoner doom music, and put up all your upside down crosses that you want. But there's another angle of that rock and roll thing that has nothing to do with a uniform. And that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in making music. Is what I care about. So today I found a video that does not really... it kind of goes to show, when taken to the extreme, this attitude of just kind of get it done can yield breathtaking results. So this video I'm going to recommend that you guys check out. It's a band called King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. I know you're probably sick of me talking about that band. They're on the verge of dropping an album, which is... It looks like it's going to be kind of a big deal album for them. It looks like it's probably this kind of like the spiritual successor to something they did called Flying Microtonal Banana. Now, microtonal is a idea where when you're playing music and you bend a note, that's a note that's in between two notes. Okay? It's a half note. And what they did was installed extra frets on their instruments so they could access those half notes. And then they make music that's not in a Western temperament. It's not a 12-tone scale. And so that's something that has a very different feel to it. It almost seems like some of it's out of tune a little bit because we're so trained to hearing that 12-tone scale. But it's not. It is what it is. and it's just really cool sounding to the ear. So they've been dropping a few videos. The first one was called Honey, and there's a video of that. It's Stu. He's the main guy in that band, sitting on a like there's waterfront, or he's sitting on a fence or something with a guitar. Maybe it's kind of a plain video. Then they dropped this video called Some of Us that was filmed with a infrared camera. Kind of a really weird effect. And then they just dropped, about a week ago, it's called Straws in the Wind. And that's, the idea behind that is it's a tornado, and they're playing their instruments in the tornado. They employed a leaf blower, so their faces are all moving around. It's a really fun video. So check all that stuff out. But what I really wanted to recommend is there's a radio station that's called KEXP. Now, KEXP is a Seattle nonprofit, or I'm not exactly sure on KEXP. I just know that they do these in studio concerts, and it's a lot of under the radar bands that are really good. Like, this is when people say there's no good new music out there. Well, there's no good music on the radio. Okay, if you look on the internet, there's all kinds of talented people making music. It just doesn't make any money. It's just kind of pushed off to the side. You know, we have manufactured rock stars now. We have people that are cookie cutter, kind of made by the label. And this particular video that I'm recommending is called Isolated Tracks Episode 3. I need to take a look at the other episodes, because what it is, the host of the show is on one side, and then you have the guest, which is Stu McKenzie. He's the guy, the singer in this King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard band, which is a 7-piece, 2 drummers. And he goes through a session on his computer and shows you each one of the tracks and describes each track, how it was recorded, how it's processed, blah, blah, blah. And what you see on, it's a song called Honey. And I first heard Honey when the video came out, so it was a month ago or so. And it just sounded so good. Like, it has this warmth to it. It has a kind of lo-fi grit or hair to it that's missing in my recordings. And I always wondered about King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. And what I came to kind of realize was, I think what they do, it's not so much a bunch of compression and fancy mics. It's a bunch of crappy mics. And they do a lot of bouncing stuff, recording it on digital, bouncing it to tape, and then playing the tape back into the digital session. They use iPhone recordings, and it's kind of a hodgepodge of just whatever is at arm's length gets thrown into the soup. And listening to this stuff, there was this percussion that I was like, I want that percussion. It's so cool, the sounds on this new album that they have over the drums. They're finger drums from an iPhone. They're just some cheap app that comes on the iPhone. And he's using the same plugins that I use. I have the one plugin that he's using to really do a lot as far as the final mix and getting that gritty feeling. It's a Kramer tape deck. So I've been using something called Ferric TDS, but I'll probably start using that Kramer and learn how he used this EQ trick with it, which seemed really to make a lot of sense to me. So I want you to check out this video, Isolated Tracks, Episode 3, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, Stu McKenzie showing his session in Ableton Live for the song Honey, and how they put that together, and how there was stuff like there was some Mellotron tracks that went to the drum bus. He had done some bad falsetto harmonies at 2 a.m. where he didn't want to wake his wife and never recorded over them because they sounded good. Because when you throw it in the soup, maybe by itself it might not sound good, but when you throw it in the soup, that's what you get. And that's what I love about this band, is this kind of hairy feel, this kind of slightly distorted, this lo-fi thing. So it isn't in this case, it isn't necessarily that they're going for super pristine, which that whole thing, it doesn't sound good. The problem with digital is there's just too much high-end information at times, and it doesn't match up with what we grew up on. So for me, hearing something that's perfectly recorded and really has a lot of that high-end sheen is harsh. I don't like it. And that's part of my path, is to learn more about how to be able to make this stuff sound really good, but not buying $3,500 outboard compressors or tube EQs, stuff like that. And that's exactly what they show in this video, is this attitude of get her done, just do it. And the other side of that attitude is this internet guitar player syndrome, which is you can't do that, that's doing it wrong. That's fine if you're some kid in your bedroom with a line 6. Whereas there's this whole other world out there that I don't know about that's full of unbelievably expensive Les Pauls, giant overpowered tube amps, and that's really where the big boys play. And I need to stay home because I'm some kid in my bedroom with a line 6. And I'll tell you what I'm starting to see about the people that make those posts, none of them have anything to show for themselves. And I'm a firm believer that those guys are all bozos. They're all jokers who are just going to cop that attitude to try to put themselves above you, which is a thing that people do on the internet all the time. And I don't stand for that. I don't put up with that. If you're going to come in here and leave a negative comment, call me names or something, I'm going to go to your channel and take a look. You call yourself Black Dog or something, like you're, Mr. Cool, and then you go there and it's up. This channel has just been created 2 weeks ago because you got in trouble with the other one that you made for never having anything nice to say. And you know what? Those type of people, they're not even worth your time. They really aren't. So, don't be a weenie. A poor workman blames his tools. Be nice and get her done. All right, you guys, check those videos out. I'll see you soon with some more original music. I've got to get kicking, get popping on the editing end of the deal, because there's more tracks from the last time when we went out, and I've just got an immense amount of work in front of me at the moment. So bear with me. There's a whole social media thing happening with me where I've got a bunch of people that I used to know who have showed up all of a sudden and are like, hi. So I've got to kind of cater to that. My wife sent out one of our edits to her family. And so they kind of responded to that. So I'm trying to kind of deal with that and answer some of their questions. They were like, who's moving the camera? Meaning maybe some of the camera moves were really extreme. And it's a tripod. I'm doing that in the editing, so we kind of have to explain to them, this isn't a bunch of expensive gear that we bought. We built this stuff. It runs on batteries. Blah 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 blah. You know the drill. So it was a really good birthday this year. I had that one digital mixer that I had in my mind that I wanted to get, and that didn't work out. We ended up getting one that we paid $23 for. So I'm truly blessed. That kind of goes along with what I'm saying is, yeah, there was this really nice thing out there. And I just don't need it. The $20 one is going to sound unbelievably excellent. Wait and see how good this sounds. It's going to be coming soon. It might be next season, before I can get the power amp has to come from China. So it's gonna be next year. But in the meantime, I've got a bunch more edits coming at you. Even if we don't make it out, we shot enough video in the last time we went out, to keep me busy for a little bit more. So that's that, and peace. I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Be safe. Be smart. Most of all, be nice. Peace.